I'm with former Senator Philip Ozouf, who is at the Holocaust Memorial Service today, and you laid a wreath for...
It's the first time that I've done it, but I did it on behalf of my great-uncle, my grandmother's brother, who was the subject of quite a lot of publicity in the JP in 2017, when we actually found what had happened to my great-uncle. He died alone on the 13th of June 1944 as in Sachsenhausen concentration camp.
I read the articles. It was very interesting that you suddenly discovered it. It was rather strange, wasn't it?
Well, I fortunately speak German, and even though my mother passed away sadly in 2002, it was her only uncle, it was her godfather, and she had looked and searched for him together with my grandmother all the years after the occupation, never found him. But we found him. We found A.P.S. Salamor when we went to a Polish wedding and went, of course, to Auschwitz. A terrible experience, but the right thing to do. And we then I then found in the years afterwards, because I fortunately speak German, and with the help of Gilly Carr, we found that actually he had died in Sachsenhausen alone.
Why was he sent there?
It's a very good question. He was a French soldier being called up, having a French passport, even though he was a Jerseyman, like many. They got called up via their respective jurisdictions. He then was then sent to the forced labour camp, and we think that because of his name, which was undoubtedly a Jewish name, he was regarded as Jewish. I have no idea whether or not he was practising or not. We don't think so. And for other misdemeanours, of which I still want to try and find out. COVID is unfortunately not been able me to go to his final resting place, which he was exhumed twice from East Berlin and West Berlin in France.
It's rather extraordinary. I was listening to the groups of people that were the Nazis tried to exterminate or tried to eliminate them to a large extent. And you're part of one of the groups, as we had the speaker today. I mean, I often wonder, because my family are socialists, communists, I'd have been on the list. Or if the Nazis had spread, unfortunately I wasn't in Jersey at the time, but presumably if I was a known communist here, I'd have been on the list.
Yeah.
I wonder where the Nazis thought they were going to stop killing people. I mean, black people would have been on the list. Where were they going to stop?
I think the question is where does the thoughts of people that perpetrate violence against others stop? When I stood down from politics, I left on the Friday and took up a job being a special advisor to the Rwandan finance minister. I have spent a lot of time in Rwanda in the previous years and in subsequent times. The only reason why I'm in Jersey really is because of COVID. And today I laid also a wreath on behalf of the growing Rwandan community of Jersey. That's the people of Rwanda who suffered an appalling genocide. Where does genocide end? I know from my Rwandan experience that there was more than one genocide in Rwanda.
Right.
And there are other atrocities which continue to be perpetrated today. And Holocaust Memorial Day is about reminding ourselves that evil and the ability for political actors and others to perpetrate evil is never very far away.
I was just saying to Lord Cashman, suggesting to him the horrible suggestion that if there hadn't been Holocaust, if it hadn't been there, if the Nazis hadn't arrived, there hadn't been a second, all these prejudices would be there in force now, wouldn't they? Jersey would still have anti-homosexual laws. They would still be in place. Like lots of the other British territories still have laws against homosexuality.
Well, as an openly gay man, I can identify with the fact that I am fortunate to live in a society, and has been an openly gay politician for all the years that I was. Whilst I did suffer and do suffer the occasional completely inappropriate comment, I am very fortunate to live in the 2020s because I don't feel that we are as discriminated as before.
But it was a battle.
It was a battle, and in my time in the States, I am very proud that we removed virtually all of those issues. And we should not forget, of course, is that when we were bringing in the marriage equality law, when Ian Gorse was as Chief Minister bringing it, he had to fight against members of the assembly that are there now, present, who brought in proposals to say, actually, this law should have the ability to say, no, we're not selling a good or service to a gay couple. I find that completely an abomination in today's world. But we should not forget that. But we should learn from that, and we should then use that knowledge that evil and genocide tendencies, as Lord Cashman quite rightly said, about the inappropriate comments to do with any minorities should be relegated to the past. And on that note, Mike, I must leave.
Thank you for your time.